Hello, Warriors. As we continue our discussion on bullying, today I want to talk a little bit about the topic of bystanders. Bullying situations usually involve more than just an aggressor and the target. They also involve bystanders, those who watch bullying happen or hear about it. Depending on how bystanders respond, they can either contribute to the problem or to the solution. There are two types of bystanders: hurtful and helpful. Hurtful bystanders encourage bullying by laughing, cheering, or making comments that may cause other bystanders to join in. Other hurtful bystanders include individuals who do nothing. They passively accept bullying by watching and doing nothing about it. Helpful bystanders have the power to play a key role in preventing or stopping bullying. Research shows that bystanders can halt an episode of bullying as quickly as within 10 seconds if the bystanders act. Here's what helpful bystanders should do. Number 1, don't view and share materials online that involve bullying. Support the victim. Discourage the student who is bullying. Don't join in, and don't just ignore it. Most importantly, tell an adult at home or at school. You are now going to hear from two adults as they share their memories of being a bystander.
When I was a junior in high school, my best friend Ian, I remember it clear as day. We were all the choirs at the school were all coming together to sing the national anthem at a football game on Friday night. And so we were all in the auditorium waiting to be called out to the football field. And we weren't really being supervised. And I remember there were these kids who were kind of picking on a friend of ours named Josh. Josh was he was a bigger kid. He was a redhead with big, thick glasses. He was a nice guy. I didn't really know what was going on, but all of a sudden I saw my friend Ian just basically like get right in these guys' faces and just be like, "Hey man, why don't you back up?" And the guy was like, "Excuse me," and he got right in this guy's face. I said, "Why don't you back up?" And I was like, everybody was around, everything just kind of went silent. We were watching, and the guy kind of like looked at Ian and backed away and kind of shrugged his head and walked off. And I was like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "He was making fun of Josh." And I remember taking that snapshot memory when I was younger, and I remember it obviously to this day, how powerful a bystander can be, and how Josh needed someone to advocate for him. He was being taken advantage of, he was being picked on, and without even thinking about it, Ian jumped in the fray, got in that kid's face, and really with little regard to kind of his own status and well-being. And I've just always been, as I think about that moment, I was always just endlessly impressed and awed by someone who could just advocate for someone in such a complete and selfless capacity. And I'll be honest, like when I reflect upon it, I feel really guilty about myself because I wasn't able to advocate for Josh, and I wasn't as selfless of an advocate as I could have been. And that's something that I regret not being able to help out with to this day.
Hi, good afternoon, Warriors. It's Mrs. Fritz. Today's lesson has been about bystanders, and I just wanted to share a personal story that I had about being in high school and witnessing some bullying. I remember being a freshman. It was in a PE class. It was in a locker room. And I remember watching one of my friends, she's in my group of friends, really pick on and bully and torture another girl in class while we were in the locker room and the teacher wasn't around and no one else could see it. And I vividly remember watching it happen and just kind of being frozen and knowing that it was wrong and feeling so bad for that other girl, but not doing anything. I don't know why I didn't do anything. Maybe because she was a friend and I thought that would cause some friction, but I didn't do anything. I didn't tell a teacher, I didn't tell an adult. And so I won't tell you how old I am, but that's 20 some years later, and I still can close my eyes and be right back in that locker room and know how bad that situation was. And all these years later, I still carry that remorse and regret that I didn't take the opportunity and help that student. And I don't know how many years that went on, maybe with other students. And by standing back and allowing it to happen, I basically gave permission for it to happen. And I'm sharing that because with the media and with other adults, we hear a lot of stories about surviving high school and what it was like to be bullied. But we sometimes forget that even if you're not bullying another person or you're not the one that's being bullied, if you're a bystander and you're watching it happen, those memories stick with you too. 20 years later, I still have regrets that I didn't help somebody when I had the opportunity. And so I think it's important to know, as a bystander, you see something going on, you can't claim innocence and you can't claim, I just didn't know what to do. Do something. If it's not the correct moment to do something right there, then you tell an adult. You come at a different time when it's a little bit more private. We're not asking students to put themselves in danger by any means, but if you're in a situation where you have some power and control and can stop it happening, that's what we want you to do. If you don't, but you see it going on, then we want you to be a witness and go talk to an adult and let us help intervene. Because I don't want anybody to be 20 years later down from high school and still reliving these moments of regret when you could have stepped in and helped somebody and you just didn't.
It is very important that a report is made to an adult if you are being bullied or you witness another student being bullied. This includes bullying done online, even if it occurs after school hours. To make a report, students should see a counselor or administrator. If your counselor or administrator is not available at the moment you are making a report, you may request a meeting with them by filling out a request form. The forms for the guidance are orange and found in the guidance office. The forms for administrators are yellow and are found at the desk in the hallway by Mrs. Linhart's office. Students can also make an anonymous report by visiting the high school website and clicking on Report an Incident.